A lot of times he had to push the president back from doing things that were illegal or against the Constitution or even against the institution of the presidency.
Hello, and welcome to America at the Crossroad, where religion, faith, and politics collide. I'm your host, Pastor Frankie Leggett III. You've heard it more times than any of us can count at this point, that this is arguably the most important election in the history of this country, and without question, the most significant election of our lifetime. Now, unless you live under a rock, unless you have your eyes closed or you exist in an alternate universe, or unless you only listen to news shows that consistently lie and gaslight you, then you know as I do that Donald Trump is a clear and present danger. And there is a very simple reason why, and here it is. Donald Trump is a clear and present danger to America and the American way of life. Here is why I say that. It's because Donald Trump, excuse me, is Hitler 2.0. Donald Trump is Hitler 2.0. Why do I say that? Trump craves power. Trump is drunken with power. Donald Trump is addicted to power. Trump wants to be a card-carrying member of the autocrats dictators club. He is jealous that Viktor Orban of Hungary, Kim Jong-un of North Korea, Vladimir Putin of Russia, and Mohammed bin Salman of the Saudi Kingdom are all members of this exclusive club without him. And Trump wants to be just like his hero, Adolf Hitler. And what saved us during his administration is that there were career servants who were faithful to their oath and to the Constitution. Men like his chief of staff, General John Kelly. Donald Trump is dangerous, and General Kelly knows it. In fact, in a recent interview, Anthony Scaramucci, Trump's former communications secretary for all of 10 or 11 days, spoke about how General Kelly continued to work for Trump to thwart him from violating the Constitution and breaking the law. Take a look and listen to this clip.
Said this privately for many years. He's been very, very concerned. I think he stayed in the White House 18 months, longest serving chief of staff, because he was so worried about the different things that Donald Trump was doing. One of the things that he didn't add in that interview was a lot of times he had to push the president back from doing things that were illegal or against the Constitution or even against the institution of the presidency. So I applaud him for being out there.
So General Kelly was Trump's longest serving chief of staff. He had several of them. At least three that I can remember: General Kelly, Mick Mulvaney, and the other guy from North Carolina. I'm forgetting. He was the one who was also implicated in the January 6th insurrection. So he had at least three, but he was the longest serving. General Kelly was. He stayed as long as he did to protect America from Trump. Thank God for General John Kelly. Now, Michael Schmidt, an award-winning writer for the New York Times, recently interviewed General Kelly, who is a 4-star general who served our country admirably. Now, when Trump made some very disturbing comments about American citizens, for Kelly, Trump's comments were a bridge too far. He knew he had to begin the process of warning people about the danger of a second Trump presidency. So I want you to listen to what Trump said in a recent interview that pushed General Kelly into coming forward and speaking about the danger that all Americans face in a second Trump presidency. Take a look.
What are you expecting? Joe Biden said he doesn't think it's going to be a peaceful election day.
Well, he doesn't have any idea what's happening in all fairness. He spends most of his day sleeping. I think the bigger problem is the enemy from within, not even people that have come in and destroying our country. By the way, totally destroying our country. The towns, the villages, they're being inundated. But I don't think they're the problem in terms of election day. I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military.
Did you hear that? Trump actually admitted that he used the military to lock up U.S. citizens. He said he also used the military to arrest and imprison his political enemies, not because they've broken the law, but merely because they oppose him politically and they criticize him. Now, please understand this. Michael Schmidt, award-winning writer for the New York Times, had been trying to get General Kelly to go on the record and speak about the threat of a second Trump presidency. But when General Kelly resisted until General Kelly heard that language from that clip that you just heard. And when he heard that language, he felt compelled to come forward. And so Michael Schmidt also asked General Kelly whether he thought Trump was a fascist, which is a dictatorial, autocratic, tyrannical leader like Adolf Hitler. Listen to General Kelly's response.
Is in the far right area. He's certainly an authoritarian. Admires people who are dictators. He has said that. So he certainly falls into the general definition of fascist, for sure.
If he was left to his own devices, would he be a dictator if he didn't have people around him?
Oh, I think he'd love to be. I think he'd love to be just like he was in business. He could tell people to do things and they would do it, and not really bother too much about whether what the legalities were and whatnot.
So Trump doesn't believe in America. He really does not. He doesn't believe in what America stands for. When you listen to him, Trump is always on the wrong side of the issue. General Kelly said it better than I ever could when he said this. Take a look.
The only president that has all but rejected what America is all about and what makes America America in terms of our Constitution, in terms of our values, the way we look at everything, to include family and government. And he's certainly the only president that I know of that was certainly in my lifetime that was like that.
Kelly also said Trump, quote, never accepted the fact that he wasn't the most powerful man in the world. And by power, I mean an ability to do anything he wanted, anytime he wanted. Kelly confirmed previous reports that the former president spoke positively of Hitler.
You hear that? He spoke positively. So he hates America. He doesn't support our allies. He supports our enemies, like Russia and Vladimir Putin. In that same interview, General Kelly revealed how Trump admired Hitler. You can't make this stuff up, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look at this clip.
More of the ones that, that Hitler did some good things too. And of course, if you know history, again, I think he's lacking in that. But if you know what Hitler was all about, it'd be pretty hard to make an argument that he did anything good.
Trump's hero is Adolf Hitler because he's addicted to absolute power. He wants the power of life and death in his hands. He truly is Hitler 2.0. During the George Floyd protest of several years ago, on May 31st to be exact, of that year, some protesters got out of hand and they set things ablaze in Washington, D.C. The next morning, June 1st, Trump wanted the military to shoot the protesters in the leg. Listen to Pentagon Chief Mark Esper describe the conversation that he had with Trump the next morning. Take a look at this clip.
Direct order to deploy paratroopers into the streets of Washington, D.C., and I'm thinking with weapons and bayonets. And this would be horrible.
What specifically was he suggesting that the U.S. military should do to these protesters?
He says, can't you just shoot them? Just shoot them in the legs or something. And he's suggesting that that's what we should do, that we should bring in the troops and shoot the protesters.
The commander-in-chief was suggesting that the U.S. military shoot protesters.
Yes, in the streets
American
of our nation's
protesters.
capital. That's right. Shocking.
We have seen in other countries a government use their military to shoot protesters.
Right.
What kind of governments are those?
Well, those are banana republics, right, or authoritarian regimes. We all remember Tiananmen Square, right, in China.
Excuse me. And finally, General Mark Milley served as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff in the Trump administration from October 1, 2019 to September 30, 2023. General Milley is even more direct in his threat assessment of a second Trump administration. Take a look at this clip.
Quote that in Bob Woodward's forthcoming book, War, former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, said to Woodward, quote, he is the most dangerous person ever. I had suspicions when I talked to you about his mental decline and so forth, but now I realize he's a total fascist. He's now the most dangerous person to this country, he said. A fascist to the core, Milley repeated.
A fascist to the core. Ladies and gentlemen, the generals that were closest to him are referring to him as a fascist, authoritarian, wannabe dictator. Do you realize that 40 out of 44 people in his cabinet do not endorse him, including his vice president, Mike Pence? This has never happened before in the history of this country. And in fact, many of them are voting for Vice President Kamala Harris. People who were in the room with him said he's unfit to lead this country. They essentially say he wants to be Hitler. Ladies and gentlemen, as I close, for those of you who are going to vote for Trump or already have, I need you to consider that a vote for Trump is a vote for Hitler. Why? It's because that's exactly who he wants to be. He craves that kind of complete and absolute power. A vote for Trump is a vote for division, hatred, misogyny, xenophobia, chaos, retribution, and revenge. Historians ranked all 46 presidents, and Donald Trump was voted dead last on that list because of his first presidency. He would be 100 times worse a second time around. Read Project 2025. There would be no guardrails to his quest for unbridled, unchecked authoritarian power. Electing Donald Trump for a second term would be the single most egregious mistake America will have ever made at the polls. But we shouldn't be surprised, because every episode I will conclude with something from Scripture. Tonight will not be an exception to that rule. We are headed for dangerous times here, of all places in America. The prophet Hosea said this about his day. However, this prophecy equally applies to our day here in America. Hosea chapter 4, verse 1 says this: "Hear the word of the Lord, O people of Israel. The Lord has brought charges against you, saying, there is no faithfulness, no kindness, no knowledge of God in your land." Verse 2, "You make vows and you break them. You kill and steal and you commit adultery. There's violence everywhere, one murder after another." Verse 3, "That is why your land is mourning and everyone is wasting away. Even the wild animals, the birds of the sky, and the fish of the sea are disappearing." Make no mistake about it. If Trump is elected, it will get even worse than what we've just read, because he is a wicked and an evil man who is unfit for the presidency of the United States of America. I pray that we all make the right decision, that when we walk into that booth, or when we fill out our ballots, that we would put country and democracy over party affiliation and over partisanship. And as I close with this: God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her. Amen. So please be advised, ladies and gentlemen, that a new podcast is uploaded each and every Monday morning. If you want to be notified whenever we upload the new episode, please help me out to build this channel by hitting the subscribe button. And if you like the content of these episodes, please hit the like button. I would truly, greatly appreciate it. And then take the link and share it far and wide, because other individuals need to hear this information. Not because I'm saying it, but because it's true. And because of all of the resources and the information that I am providing to back up what I am sharing with you. Again, I want to thank my incredible producer, Lorraine, for the incredible job that she does. I could not do what I do. Lorraine, love you. Thank you for all that you do. And so until next time, be blessed. I'll see you then.